Welcome to On the Move.
When we left, the last thing I was talking about was remembering to prioritize. So there are specific priorities that I have come up with, and there's an order that I have them in. And I think the order is really important, and maybe you disagree, but for me, this is the order that I feel is the most important with your priorities. Now, some of these are extras, some of these aren't 100% necessary for surviving small disasters, but if you're talking about a long, prolonged engagement or something, then this is something that's going to be important. So first, let me read off the priorities, and then we'll explain what each one is. The first priority of business during a natural disaster or emergency situation is going to be security. Okay, and I know this sounds probably not something that you would think immediately, but in my opinion, security is extremely, extremely important. I'm coming from a security background. You know, I used to be security forces when I was in the Air Force, so I am security minded almost all the time. So sometimes I'm lacking, but most of the time security is always on my mind. So anyway, first one, security. Next one, shelter. That's severely important. In a cold environment where you're exposed to the elements, you can last for about 3 hours without good shelter, depending on the circumstance. So shelter is extremely critical. I would say the only thing more important than shelter, would be air. Air is, you can go like, I think 3 minutes without air. It's the rule of threes. You can go, 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. So shelter is important. Water is the next one, super important. Nobody wants to die of dehydration. That is a bad way to go. It takes approximately 3 days to die from that, but you could die quicker depending on the amount of effort you're exerting and how dehydrated you are. So, and also the environment that you're in. If you're in a really hot environment, you're sweating like crazy, and you're moving around a lot, you can use up a lot of your water, and you can die pretty quickly without water. Medications. Now, this is really important. Diseases happen, but most importantly, if you are on some kind of like medicine, it's really important to keep that in mind. You're going to need that. So, next one, food. Food is really important, but it's not the most important initially, because you can go 3 weeks without food. You're not going to be happy. You're not going to be comfortable, but you can go. So, also you got to keep in mind fire and ways to cook, lighting, and some way to produce energy if you plan on having some kind of renewable resource like that for lighting or charging batteries or something. And the last level of communication, or last level of importance, is communication. So this is, some people may put that a little further up in there. In my opinion, this is the order my list goes. So like I said, if you disagree with me, let me know. Feel free to pipe in here. It's the number to call in is 619-924-0986, 619-924-0986, and again, you can email the show at onthemoveshow@gmail.com. So, okay, so moving forward here, let's talk about security.